live. So, welcome everybody to the After Hours live stream of the Mike Seibert Radio podcast, powered by Poddex. I am your host, and as you can already see, we are beaming our transmission to the Cobra Citadel, and we are talking with the one and only nerdcore rapper Wordburglar. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Man, good to see you, Mike. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right. So let's wind the clocks back a couple weeks because you've got a super cool project coming up. It is the vinyl crowdfunder, the crowdfunder for the vinyl release of your iconic album, Welcome to Cobra Island. It's a G.I. Joe hip hop concept album, but a couple weeks ago I saw that it went live, and I immediately thought of you. I was like, gotta get you back on the podcast. I love that album so much, and to see it get a vinyl release, I thought was something really cool and something for us to look forward to in these COVID quarantines that we're in. But I was going to have you on the show with the intent of helping you get the word out. Saying, man, gotta check out this crowdfunder. We got to make this vinyl happen. This is the only way you could get it. We got to make this project happen. Thing funded in 2 days. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks so much, man. Yeah, it's my G.I. Joe inspired album that I really just made out of just pure love and fun and just a lifetime of great memories and imagination, sparked from G.I. Joe toys and comics and stuff as a kid. And obviously I'm grown up and I'm still obsessed with the stuff. And I had all this stuff in my brain. I made this album 7 years ago. And ever since, people have been asking me to put it on vinyl. And, being a hip hop guy, being a rapper, lifelong rap fan, vinyl lover. Yeah, it was a dream to get it on vinyl. So I said, well, I'd love to try and do it one day. And then Bandcamp are now doing these crowdfunding opportunities for artists to do their own vinyl pressing through Bandcamp. And I was speaking with some people at Bandcamp, and they said, listen, let's do this. We think you can make this happen. I'm like, yeah, I feel good about it. So we launched, and it's live now. There's still a little over 20 days to go. Honestly, I'm so excited. We hit our goal in 2 days. And if no one's heard it before, Welcome to Cobra Island. You can download it for free. Just go to Bandcamp, type in Wordburglar, Cobra Island. You'll find it. We did a limited run of CDs. So that's what the cover looks like.
Oh, sweet.
My pal Cody Peters drew that as a comic book artist. And and the CD's great. Play them in your car, play them in your old school laptop pre 2016 or whenever they stopped doing CD drives in some laptops.
Right.
And so vinyl is a go. So if anyone wants to get a little piece of Joe and really 80s inspired fun and action adventure in the form of a hip hop concept album, it's like Hamilton, but for G.I. Joes, basically.
It really is. It really is. And I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about, kind of like origin stories and how the songs came to be and how the production came to be, because we've talked about the Welcome to Cobra Island album a couple different times, times you've been on the show before, but I don't know if we've gone this deep in how did you get connected with all the cool guest artists you have on there? What were the inspirations for the specific tracks, the specific beats? So I kind of want to get, kind of hip deep into that kind of behind the music type of stuff. But the thing that I would tell G.I. Joe fans, before we, get super deep in minutia, though, is that this is a G.I. Joe concept album for fans of that era of G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero era. But what I appreciate the most and I discovered this as on my first listen. I didn't know exactly what all it was about. I had heard Rap Viper before. I love that track. That's one of my favorite jams of yours.
Thank
But
you.
as I'm listening to it, I could hear all of the different influences coming in. So it's not one particular iteration of Joe. You've kind of taken like this almost Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse type of thing, and you've pulled in. You've got the Larry Hama comic books from Marvel. You've got the Sunbow cartoon, and even later on, you've got some of the IDW stuff thrown in there as well. It's really kind of like this amalgamated version of everything that celebrates everything that's awesome about Joe. I guess let's kind of start with initial inspiration. What clicked to say not only to do a Joe album, because your discography is littered with all kinds of cool reference tracks. I mean that's what nerdcore music is all about. But to go this specific and this granular, why GI Joe, and why do it as a concept album?
Well, listen, and I apologize to all the Transformer fans out there, but G.I. Joe's the best. Listen, I love Transformers, being an 80s kid, of course. G.I. Joe and Transformers, they're the best cousins. And then we had Star Wars and He-Man as well. I got love for all that. But G.I. Joe was always my favorite as a kid. Yeah, they were the most affordable for sure. It was easier to convince my mom to buy me
Yeah,
a $3 Storm Shadow figure than a $20 Soundwave figure or something, right?
right.
So getting Joe's was a little easier as a kid, and I just love them. And discovering the comics early on, and obviously watching the cartoon series, it was just always fun. And I think I can speak to someone like yourself. I just loved playing with toys as a kid. Any toys
Yeah,
I had, you everybody's all, yeah, you got Fisher Pricing with the Transformers and your Star Wars and GI Joes, and you just play with them all together, like it's just, and you make up your own stories.
yeah,
And when I made this album, it was really me making up stories based on all the stories that I loved. So of course I did, take all those Larry Hama comics, all those Sunbow cartoons, elements of the movie, the IDW comics, and it's
yeah,
like I told those stories. Or I did my best job to just tell those stories in my own way, in my own words and rhymes, and treating them with the respect that I would, you know because I love the stuff, and of course I don't want it to look bad. So, but
right.
when you're a kid, and maybe you do it as an adult, but when you're playing with your toys and you've got like your Snake Eyes or your Megatron or whoever, and I don't know about you, but I would just I would talk, like my characters would talk to each other, and I'd come
Oh,
up
yeah,
with storylines, and you just play all this stuff. And as we get older, maybe we don't play that way in the same way. Some people want to keep the toy in the box and put it on the shelf. It looks beautiful.
yeah,
I still open my figures. I like to put them in actiony poses and do all that. And but it's hard to find that time to just sit down and play with your toys. So
yeah.
what I did with this album, it's me playing with toys, and basically just recording it all on a microphone, and getting to do it with my friends, and being like a rapper who takes himself pretty seriously when it comes to making music.
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure the album was awesome, and it really just started on it just started. I had one idea, and I was like, I always wanted to do like a Snake Eyes song. And then that, of course, Snake Eyes, you can't just do one song. It's like
Right.
Batman or Wolverine, right? Like the character is so rich. There's so much depth there that, if I was trying to do one tribute song, it just couldn't do it justice. So I just started writing, and it just all started coming back to me. And I went back and rewatched some of my favorite episodes of the cartoon, and read through my favorite issues of the comics, which are pretty much almost all of them of that original Larry Hama run.
Yeah.
And I just immersed myself in it. And I've joked about this before, but my wife would come in and I'd be like playing with my toys and, or reading G.I. Joe comics. And I'd be like, I'm working over here. I'm working on the album. And just, finding that love. And it was just so fun being able to tell these stories in rap form on an album. Because it is just me playing with my toys on the mic. And I've got, hundreds of songs, and G.I. Joe and Transformers and comic books and stuff have always been a big part of my life. I worked at comic book shops, and all that stuff just seeps into my music. So when I did Cobra Island, it was like, this one's just going to be all focused and just have fun with it. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, and the reception people have had, and just talking to people who have heard it, who, kind of think the same way we do about this stuff. And, we still love it after all this time. And it's just great. And sharing stuff you love, and my way of sharing it was in rhyme form over some crazy beats.
Well, and speaking of those crazy beats, let's talk about some of the collabs you got on this record. I mean, again, I'm still boggled that the album is 7 years old. That it came out in 2013. It's almost time for a follow-up, but maybe we'll unpack that later, because I mean there's been a lot going on in Joe since then. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about some of those dope collaborators that joined you on there, because it feels like it's a full cast, especially like on the track Rank and File, where you meet the Joes, and while it's as much you playing with your toys, as you say, it's also you inviting your friends to the sandbox also.
Rank and File is a great example, because it's really, other than the Snake Eyes and Chuckles songs, it's the one song that's themed around Joe characters, when the rest of the are really all characters. And Rank and File, for those who haven't heard it, it's eight different members of the team, and I got to work with rappers from America and Canada who I knew were Joe fans and were super skilled and could really just take on this idea. And I worked with each one of them and talked about, well, what character would you want to do? Oh, cool, you want to be Alpine? That's amazing. So Casuno was Alpine, Esh was Tunnel Rat, Touch is Stalker, Jesse Dangerous Lee is Lifeline. I mean, Lifeline, what a great choice, right?
Yeah.
The pacifist on the Joe team. Timbuktu's Shipwreck, Chokules is Muskrat, which is perfect because Choke is in a group called Swamp Thing with Timbuktu and Civilian. Okay. So they're in the group called Swamp Thing, and of course Muskrat is the swamp fighter for Joe. And More or Less, of course, my old friend who's an incredible rapper and DJ and producer, and we've done a million shows and tracks and stuff together. And he's Roadblock, who is arguably the original Joe rapper, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, totally.
So Roadblock was always kicking rhymes, and a chef, and Les loves to cook. So that was a perfect fit. And it was just, they all just embraced it. And Civilians, Firefly, there, I got everybody on that. Oh yeah, and I play Lowlight on that track.
Yeah.
And that was just super fun. And with Lowlight, I wanted to talk about the strange things. Like Lowlight, to me, if you watch the old Sunbow series, he is in some really weird episodes of that cartoon when they get turned into kids, him and Lady J, and they're running around as kids. And then the one where he has nightmares, which is a crazy episode. I mean, that'd be a top 5 Sunbow cartoon for me. Yeah, see, I could talk about this stuff forever. It's all up here. Like, I really didn't have to do research for the album. It was just, and it was very cathartic too, because again, joking, like, my wife is like, listen, I get it, you like G.I. Joe, but you can just put it on a mic. You go. So but.
Well, it's cool when folks like us have our creative outlets, where it's like I have similar conversations with my wife where I'll be talking about movies or TVs or whatever, and she'll even say, very similar, I'm sure it's the same tone as at home for you. It's like, save it for the podcast. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get out my notebook and just writing stuff down. We always marry up. And they always bring out the best in us, and it's
absolutely
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, from there, I'm not sure what I want to ask you about because like there's, I if we go through the individual dozen tracks, we'll be here for. I would love to be here for several hours, but we'll be a little more economical with the time. I guess what I would like to ask is what is it about this record you think that sticks with people? Because I mean, again, it's a 7-year-old album, but yet, as you said, fans have been bothering you for years, enthusiastically clamoring for a vinyl. The vinyl is here and it funds in 2 days. And I don't even want to quote any numbers now because every time I check it, it increases. People are enthusiastically jumping on this. It's a smash hit. But what is it that makes this so iconic for folks? Why do folks keep coming back to it?
Well, I don't. I mean, honestly, it's just a project out of love. I mean, we put it up for free download, and I think the vinyl really appeals to people of our generation as well too. Yeah. And my parents always had vinyl when I was growing up, and I love. I've grown up loving vinyl, and to me, it's the ultimate way. And I see Chris McLeod there. Shout out Chris, Full Force does a great podcast. Yeah, I see there in the chat. Yo, Full Force. I mean, honestly, I'm just amazed people enjoy it, and I worked really hard to make it really good. That was because obviously you hear something, oh, this could totally suck when you hear what a G.I. Joe rap album. I don't know about that, but then I wanted to just work extra hard to make sure it was good, and the same way I treat any of my albums. And I'm working on my 8th album now. And wow. It's my only one that was a full concept from start to finish. There's Space Verse as well, which, actually shout out Chris. Chris and I worked on a few tracks on that. Transformer people will know that.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, have it right there.
Oh, it's Cybertron's Chronicler right there, right up front.
Yeah, you got it, man. That's a diagnostic track. Yeah. Definitely reco that for all your fans of C-Cons and Terracons. I think I got a Terracon. We always talk about Terracons.
It does always seem to come back to Terracons with us. It's so funny.
They may be my favorite of the cons.
They are pretty dope.
Sinner Twin has always been a favorite, and I see there's like a bootleg Sinner Twin floating around now that looks kind of cool, but I can't go there. But
you can.
Listen, I'm just glad people enjoy the record, and now it's going to be a real record, which is fantastic. And yeah, because honestly, it just was something I really had fun doing, and everybody I worked on it with, all the producers, all the rappers, everybody was just so incredible and so talented, like Beat Mason and Fresh Kills and Timbuktu and all my lifetime collaborators who everybody's just brought their A game, and I'm really proud of it, and the fact that anybody found it and enjoys it, that's a big enough reward, that I could get. So it's great. It's great. So,
well, one of the other great things that came out of the album, actually, real quick, newbie kind of like point of order type thing, because I watch like some of these singing competitions on TV sometimes, and they'll refer to singles as records and like albums as records. What's the difference between like a song and a record and an album? Because I think a lot of those terms just kind of get thrown together. I know it's kind of random.
It's just I think a single can't be an album unless it's an album full of singles, or like a single with a whole bunch of like remixes and different versions. I mean, then I guess if it's like a single, but it's like 10 versions of that single, I guess then it would be an album. Record obviously just gets interchangeable. It's like people say a mixtape and you're just downloading it, right? It's not an actual cassette tape. It's a fun term. Or maybe they're just mispronouncing record. It's a record. We recorded it.
It's a record. That's just something random that popped into my head. But one of the other great things that we got from the Welcome to Cobra Island album was, of course, the video for Rap Viper. And I figured since we were here chatting, we had to talk about the video shoot. because that's I just watched it right before I jumped on live with you just to get refreshed, and that is a fun video. I was wondering if you'd like to chat about that for a few.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That was done. Honestly, full credit goes to 3 a.m. Studios. My friends Bob and Skinny, they're like just the best. I've worked with them on a bunch of different projects over the years, and they were both fans of G.I. Joe, and they heard the early tracks, and they really loved the Rat Viper song, and they said, look, we think we can pull off a 3D CGI style video on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Using some new technology, calling in a few favors, talking to some incredible artists and designers. 3 a.m. I think I was a beneficiary of them wanting to experiment with some new technology and try and see if they could push some stuff that they were working with, and they just wanted to do a really fun project. And there really wasn't a budget there. Like, people just kind of came together and we worked so hard, and there was a lot of posts done. I think from filming it, I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 months before the video was actually ready. I'm trying to remember the exact timeline, but it did take there was a lot of time in post-production, and I to this day I watched it, I can't believe how well it turned out. But we did a lot of stuff on like green screen, but there were also props and a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of attention to detail went into it, from getting the costume together and getting those file cards printed off and getting everybody getting the little board game pieces to make it look like Cobra Commander's thing is all set up, and getting the vinyl. And Cobra Commander, he's a busy guy, so getting Cobra Commander to DJ for me, that was really tricky. And it just came through, like when the fact when he's like, okay, the Rattler, the Hiss tanks are amazing, but then when they're like, all right, you say Mambacopter, we're gonna put a Mambacopter in this video. I was like, no, people might say we got the Hiss, we're good. No, we got a Rattler and a Hiss, old school vehicles, we're covered. No, they're like, let's get it. Now, of course, the one thing we couldn't get was a Buzzbore, but maybe one day we do that. But the Mamba, I can't believe how good that Mambacopter
it looks.
I mean, it
really
all looks
cool.
good, but yeah. So
it's just a reminder of how wildly impractical a Buzzbore actually is. It's so bizarre.
It was. I do remember. I always liked the Buzzbore. Like I always loved the stranger stuff, like the Cobra Bug. Like like that's where you're talking about where some of this stuff came from. It was like really the stuff I loved. Like I'm putting Cobra Bug, from the bugs.
Yeah.
I put that in there, and because I love the Cobra Bug, and I don't know if I put the Buzzbore in there because I loved it, right? The Cobra Pogo is not in there because I did not like the Cobra Pogo. People are like, why didn't you mention this? I didn't like that vehicle, my friend. That's why I didn't put it on the album.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's it's just such a fun video, and just such a amazing fun project. I kind of want to switch gears a little bit because again, so I'm here in Seattle, so I'm here in the U.S. and you are in the Cobra Citadel, which I'm assuming is somewhere near Cyber Toronto, home of our homies, the Cybertronic Spree.
I'm wearing the hat for you.
I see that repping the Spree. That's
absolutely. Shout out Cybertronic Spree. They took a space bridge home right before Corona, so I think they got out in time.
So they're all right. They're all right.
Although I don't think Corona affects Cybertronians, but I could be wrong.
Hey, you know what? They got cosmic rust and scraplets to deal with. So, but I wanted to ask, and maybe this is me just being an ugly American, but like, what is G.I. Joe like in Canada? Like, was it, because like, I guess I was thinking about it because, Christopher was joining us here on the chat.
Shout out Christopher. Yeah.
Full force. And, we know that overseas, G.I. Joe took a vastly different form in the form of Action Force. But with regards to like I was typing up a intro. I was going to say, well, usually we talk about the robots in disguise, but now we're talking about the real American hero, and I was like, wait a minute. Is GI Joe the real American hero in Canada? I don't know. I just as a weird off tangent thing, could you kind of talk about GI Joe as it's presented in Canada?
It was always a real American hero here. Some of the action figures and vehicles came with Canadian flags. So if you got like a Mauler as a kid, you might get the Canadian flag. We call them decals. Sometimes people call them decals, tampos. I don't know what you call them, like the stickers. The stickers. We call them decals. I've had this chat. I went to JoeCon, had the same conversation with someone. I'm like, oh yeah, I want that decal for the Rattler. What are you talking about?
Decals.
Decals.
Yeah, it's just a weird pronunciation, I guess.
Yeah, but no, it was always real American hero. Didn't really, same cartoon. And I just always thought of it as like, when you're super young, you don't think about it. Some of the file cards, actually, this is a fun fact. They did change for the early ones, the file cards. People were born in Canadian cities and provinces. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun thing if you're a collector to find the Canadian card backs that Cutter's born in New Brunswick or somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
That's cool, and honestly, I always thought like, oh, maybe it's like North American hero. So I get it for they had to change it to Action Force to go over to Europe because that's a whole different thing. But I growing up, to me, I have family in the States and. It was always like it was not really an issue, and we'd go down to like Bangor, Maine, or go to Boston, and we'd go to Maine a lot actually when I was a kid growing up in the East Coast, Nova Scotia, and
sure,
yeah. So there was always I don't know. I never really thought it was not really a disconnect, and then of course in the cartoon they're going all over the globe, so it was just I never really thought of it as that American only. Like it always felt like for everybody. There is one Canadian Joe, and that's Backstop. He drives the Persuader.
Okay.
Yeah. So and there's a couple international guys, right? There's Big Ben from UK.
Of course.
And what's his name? Not Cloudburst. Is it Cloudburst? Oh, it's escaping me. The one guy's for Skymate. Skymate's from Australia.
Got it.
And then
and of course Red Star.
Yes, Red Star, of course. Yeah, and the October Guard. Yeah. So, but yeah, mainly, I never really thought of it, but yeah.
So from there, I guess what I was kind of trying to clumsily segue to, we got to talk about some toys. Okay. And earlier in the video, in the live stream, you were showing off Classified Snake Eyes from the new Classified series. And we couldn't get out of here without talking about the new G.I. Joe Classified series. G.I. Joe is back. G.I. Joe is in 6-inch scale for the first time. And in a lot of ways, it's almost kind of like a weird, bittersweet type of thing because the figures are amazing. The figures are also very difficult to come by.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like they created the best action figure line Hasbro's made in years.
Yeah.
And then they just forgot to distribute them widely. I mean, now obviously the world is in a strange state right now, so who knows what's going on, but they obviously spent a lot of time, the designers and sculptors and artists working on this series, and from the actual figures themselves to all the artwork on the packaging, everything about this line it's classified, but it's called G.I. Joe Classified, but it's G.I. Joe Class C. Let me tell you, it is a great line. Every figure I see is fantastic. I got to shout out my buddy Kieran who got me this one. He found this in Edmonton, actually, in the Western Canada, and so I've been able to score a few of these, and still, hoping to get the full set. That Zartan that they just revealed looks amazing. One of my favorite characters of all time. The Destro is incredible too. I've got the Destro. That Destro figure might be my favorite of the ones released right now. Destro and Snake Eyes, I think, are the best too. But
absolutely, and I love that they're doing deep cuts. I mean, how is it that you get Arctic Storm Shadow before regular Storm Shadow? It's like what? It's like, wait a sec, that's a Ninja Force figure from 1992. What are we doing? I mean, you get Prophet Director Destro, PD Destro, in the mainline wave. He's not even like a weird exclusive or something. He's just a regular figure. And yeah, it's so mind-boggling, the deep cuts that we're getting, and that we're getting early in this line.
Yeah, they know who their target is, and I think they're saving the regular edition Snake Eyes for, probably third or fourth wave, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's probably been revealed. Somebody, who has more info than me probably knows already. But but yeah, I mean that Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow variant, it's hilarious. I don't know. I'm very excited. I want to see how far they can keep this thing, because I mean, those Marvel Legends lines and like the Star Wars lines, what they've been doing with those are great figures. And seeing the deep cuts and all those Marvel characters, right? Like sometimes I'm seeing these guys, I'm like, I haven't seen this character since like John Byrne drew it in a Marvel Universe handbook or something in the 80s. Like, and they've got their own Marvel Legends figure. So if they can get into that deep, like if they can get into like Headman and Updraft and just like the real deep unknown Joe characters, yeah, that'd be wild.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we talked a little bit about distribution. So what's your hookup? Where are you getting your toys? Do they because like Toys R Us is still a thing up there. There's Walmart. Are there Targets in Canada? Can you get the Cobra Island set?
No, Target is not here. I haven't been doing any toy shopping during COVID times, but like going to stores or anything brick and mortar, I haven't really been able to get to many. Sure. But apparently the Target exclusive line is coming out to Toys R Us in Canada. So they have been appearing, because we still have Toys R Us here. I'm not sure if they're all closed in the US or not. Were they closing?
Much, yeah. They're pretty much done. There's I think like a couple boutique-y ones that are still around, but yeah, by and large, as a chain, it's done here in the US.
Yeah, which is sad. But yeah, we still have Toys R Us here, and I guess someone at Toys R Us was smart and got a line on these Target exclusives. So they've apparently been popping up. I have a few people who are, keeping eyes out for me, and I have some very, very kind friends who hook me up with stuff. So, hopefully a couple of those toy Vipers will hook me up.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Vipers, I mean, that is a sharp looking figure between the Cobra Viper and Hurt Locker Firefly they got there. I really liked what they did with him. Like it's like he's got like some burn detail on his face. His ski mask is kind of crooked. And just random story about Firefly. I've told this in a few other places recently, but when I was a kid, because we talked a lot about the play patterns and the stories that we tell on our own, because of Firefly's mask and that he had the gray camo detail, I always played him as a third brother to Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. In that, like, you've got Storm Shadow all in white with all the ninja gear. You've got Snake Eyes, who's Ninja Commando, and then you got this guy Firefly, kind of like right in the middle of the Saboteur with his dynamite sticks. But yeah, it was just something about that style of mask that kids of the 80s always associate that as a ninja mask.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Firefly. I mean, those early Joe characters, you can't really go wrong with those Cobra designs. And that Firefly, I mean, to this day, such a great figure, like the original. And I'm excited. There was an amazing one that came out in the when they did the 30th anniversary line or 25th anniversary G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's which went all the way up to the 50th. actually, it went to the 50th. They did 25th of the Real American Hero. Then they were like, oh, it's the 50th of like all G.I. Joe. So let's just get more figures out. But they did some great figures with all those, like Pursuit of Cobra and all that stuff. There's some great figures. Yeah, there was like a 3-pack movie, actually. That's what the Firefly I'm thinking of. For the second G.I. Joe movie, with The Rock, there was a 3-pack with a Firefly that was like the ultimate Firefly figure, right up there with the ultimate like Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and Destro that they did around that time. Yeah. Great figures. And they did like an amazing Cobra Commander with the chrome. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Chef
I
kiss.
see David is saying Zartan is my boy, I think. So
yes,
David, I agree. Zartan's the best.
Welcome to the chat, Dave Cabal, Retro Cabal. Check out his podcast. He did a whole journaling daily podcast about his love of G.I. Joe. He bleeds Joe, man. It's he's a good dude.
Cheers, Dave. Cheers, yes, for sure.
So sticking with the classified series, we've had those great reveals. We have this otherworldly Zartan. We talked a lot about Firefly and Cobra Viper. Obviously the alluring and difficult to find Baron cycle. What I'd like to ask you is, who do you want to see? I mean, we talked about Headman because you got to get Headman and some of those other weirdos. But
I do love those Cobra weirdos, man.
Yeah,
Sea Slug, give me a Sea Slug.
There it is.
I want Secto Viper. You need Croc Master. Croc Master would be badass.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Or like Nagahide or something, somebody. I'm thinking of like the folks that have animals with them. I mean, when are we gonna get Snake Eyes with a timber? If we're gonna do that, you may as well do Law and Order, Mutton Junkyard. Yeah,
it's gotta happen.
Yeah, my mind is suddenly blown thinking about what those packing companions would kind of look like.
Oh yeah, just do a whole companions line. Spearhead and the Bobcat. There you go. Shipwreck and Polly. Bring them. Whatever Undertow's fish's name is.
Oh man, those are some great figures, man.
They're the best. Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I found myself oftentimes picking figures because of the cool accessories that they had. Like, I mean, I love Stalker. He is one of my favorite characters, but I would be lying if I didn't say the reason why I didn't buy that version 2 Stalker is because he comes with a giant kayak that's twice as big as he is.
You didn't want the kayak.
No, I wanted the kayak.
Oh, you wanted it? Yeah.
And so I mean, like I got Saw Viper because he has a rifle that is twice as big as he is, kind of predicting 90s comic books a couple years early there. I mean, Saw Viper is a Rob Liefeld character in action figure form.
Pretty much. And there's another great thing about it, because all those accessories are interchangeable.
Yeah.
I think we all did. I see, okay, who's the figure that I absolutely have to get? Like, who do I really like? But then, who's got the best accessories that I can use these accessories across my whole, shoebox of Joes? Everyone's going to benefit from, Blizzard's skis or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Blizzard had skis and snowshoes. Bam, I got two figures can wear stuff, so that was so great about those snap-on, stay-on accessories.
There it is. It is.
Yeah, swivel arm. They got all that marketing stuff. Shout out Kirk Bazigian and everyone who worked on it, Ron Rudat and the design teams. Like, all that stuff is seeped into our brain, right? From swivel arm, battle grip, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got us. You guys got us good.
I mean, to the point where 30 years later, we're still talking about it, and it's still as iconic as it ever was to this day. Our guest is Wordburglar, and we are talking about the crowdfunder for the Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl album record. The campaign goes through the end of the month. What day
Yes.
does that terminate?
Yeah, it runs to October 28th, I believe, is the last.
Ah, okay. Because I was trying to do the math, and I'm like, that's not 31.
I think I think we started on the 28th or 29th, but I mean,
Okay.
regardless, just go get the record right now. It's the only way to guarantee getting it, because once this is done, we're not going to do another run. Like, you get the vinyl, this is limited edition, grab it. So if there's a couple extra when it's done, I'll probably just have them at shows and stuff, but
Sure.
this is, if you need the vinyl, grab it now. So.
Well, and that actually, you answered a question for me. I think we are so psionically linked, binary bonded, if you will, that wait a minute, I'm mixing my franchises.
We're Spark.
Again.
What do they call it in Transformers? The Spark. They're aren't there like Spark twins or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, and that explains why Sinner Twin looks like Vortex or something. I don't know.
Something like that,
some of these guys. I love, like, the IDW comics have done such a great job with Transformers and just explaining all that minutia, and like, oh yeah, why do these people look the exact same? Like, why do these two robots have the exact same heads? Or and it's like, oh, they're this type of, and they've really just kind of broken down all these weird little tropes and explained them, and it's just fun, right?
Yeah, and it makes things that you didn't know didn't fit, makes it fit, while introducing new progressive concepts also. And yeah, I love what IDW has had done with the Transformers. Speaking of comics, though, before we move on, have you been checking out the new G.I. Joe series from IDW?
I have, yeah. I'm reading the one that Larry Hama's been writing. I picked up the Rob Liefeld one. I haven't read issue 1 yet. It's still sitting in my pile. I've been really enjoying the Paul Allor stuff. Like, at first, I was like, okay, it was kind of a bit of a slow build, and that I got turned around on it. Actually, I quite dug where that was going. And yeah, the Larry Hama stuff. I've actually been rereading all the old stuff again, and just started doing a reread of, like, the Devil's Due stuff, just because I've got a whole box of those.
Yeah.
And there's a really fun crossover with Transformers and G.I. Joe, which is pretty much the only, I think there's maybe 2 other instances of Cobra La appearing in comics, but they show up in that Transformers tie-in that Tim Seeley did. Yes. And I always thought that was cool. Like, that's what I really enjoy. Like, when people are working on this stuff and are able to find a new take that fits in with stuff, but doesn't necessarily ruin it. And hopefully doesn't ruin it. But it's finding those takes, and those are the kind of things, right? And look, I like Cobra La. I've got a song about Cobra La. Full disclosure, I'm a Cobra La apologist, a Cobra La apologist.
Oh, that's good.
I dig it. I always enjoyed Cobra La. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And that's actually what I was going to ask you about, because I love that you have so much reverence and nostalgia for the movie and the bonkers concepts that were introduced there, because it's, for a lot of Joe fans, not necessarily their cup of tea. And I like that, as we talked about the Welcome to Cobra Island album, is that you're taking from all of these different eras and aspects and putting it all together in kind of like this evergreen narrative that again really celebrates everything that's awesome about G.I. Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's, again, I think the Larry Hama, like, Snake Eyes origin and everything, which is so incredible and so powerful to this day when you go read those comics, and telling that story, which is so serious, right? You're looking at this Snake Eyes just had such a troubled and storied history. Yeah. But then at the same time, something like Cobra La, which is kind of like, might, on the surface seem like this goofy idea of these snake people living in the Himalayas. Yeah. It's also, I always say, being a kid watching Cobra La in that movie, it just blew my mind. It was just this concept I did not see coming. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what is going on? Everything I know is a lie. And that movie, I love it, and it still holds up. And there are just some incredible scenes with Nemesis Enforcer ripping open the Havoc and tearing out across. You're hearing Snowjob scream like, "Ah!" He's doing like the Wilhelm. Is the Wilhelm scream?
Yeah, Wilhelm. Yeah.
And like, I get chills thinking about that.
Yeah.
Just the same way I get chills thinking of like the Snake Eyes' story and that whole drama with Storm Shadow and everything. So. It's there were powerful stories and good characters, and again, I love Transformers and love all that stuff. But as a kid, it was the G.I. Joe mythology that really just grabbed onto me and just spoke to me and stuck.
Yeah, I mean there's a depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it just blows me away that these 80s nostalgia properties had so much mythology baked into it, just so much imagination put into all these things. I don't know what kids are doing now, but like, I mean, in the 80s, we had it made, my friend. I mean, everything was awesome, and everything was more just so bizarre and escalated, and was just incredibly exciting. It was a great time to be a kid.
We were the test. We were the 80s. They didn't have stuff like that before us. Like, our parents did not have that type of major marketing forced down their throats, from the cereals to the action figures to the cartoons to the comics. Like the multi-pronged approach, just bombarding you with cool stuff. But when those great stories did survive, and Marvel Comics teaming up with Sunbow and doing the animation and everything, like. Those 80s, like, it was that, especially that pocket, I think, from like around like 83 to probably like 88. There's so much wild stuff there. And then of course Ninja Turtles came in and then reshaped things for a whole new era. And like Turtles started, that's a whole other thing. I love Turtles too, right? So being in that mid pocket of the 80s, and it's just like, whoa, there's this great stuff that came before, great stuff that came after. And then, I'm a full retro, not junkie, video games, comics, all that stuff. I love it. And I love new stuff coming out now too, right? We gotta, you gotta always look forward. You can't, the past is great, but there's a lot of awesome stuff coming out right now. And there's never been a better time to be a geek and an enjoyer of all this great stuff. 'Cause there's just, it's just, we're spoiled. And
absolutely. So before we close out, I wanted to go back and talk about some of the cool features and rewards that come with the crowdfunder campaign for the Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl. So there were a couple premium tiers that are now gone, so I'm not even going to talk about those. Again, it's so weird. Like, I'm probably repeating myself, but it's like I was planning this interview episode more as like, hey, here's the cool stuff you could get. Here's where you could get a signed test pressing, and here's where you could get get signed lyrics and all this. You know what? People already snapped it all up. You don't need my help, so we could just talk and enjoy. But there are two reward tiers, because like there's some really cool bonus stuff in the be remiss if we didn't at least touch on before we parted ways. I mean, obviously there's a level where you can just buy the record. You get the vinyl record. It's on 12-inch green vinyl. Perfect color choice, by the way.
Thank you. I had to go with snake green, right?
Mm-hmm. So, you got to.
Yeah, I've seen the Transformers vinyl that came out and a few other things. There's been a lot of blue and red vinyl before, and a few people had asked, why didn't you do blue or red? I was like, no, it had to be green. I wanted to match the album cover art as well. So, yeah.
Well, and speaking of the cover art, you had mentioned that the it's going to be cool seeing that cover just in 12-inch format.
Can't wait, man. Yeah.
That's gonna be dope.
I mean, I'm
But
doing this just as much for me as anyone else. I just want, like, I always joke that I do this just so I get a free copy.
love that. So that's on the front, but on the back of the jacket, it's lyrics to the songs.
Yeah,
If I
all the
remember
lyrics.
correctly.
Yeah, with the CD release, we included all the lyrics, and people really enjoyed that. So I love that as a kid. I had records that you could read the lyrics on the back of, and it's awesome. Put on the record, and then you're holding the art, and you're looking at the art, you're flipping around to the back, reading along, rapping along if you want. And
Yeah.
that's so I'm really excited about that. The reward tier we do have, there's a comic one because I write comic books.
Yeah.
So I make a few comics with my friends. One's called The Last Paper Route, which is inspired by my time as a paper boy. And so you can get all 4 issues of The Last Paper Route, the digital edition, as well as all 3 issues of my other comic, Snake Oars Pizza, which is it's a true story about an evil snake person who fails to rule the globe and then has to work at a pizza shop. So, this is Snake Oars Pizza, and it's illustrated by Cody Peters, who did the art to the cover. So Cody and I, prior to doing Welcome to Cobra Island, we worked on Snake Oars Pizza and a bunch of other cool little indie comics together. And Snake Oars is a series that's really true and dear to my heart, and it's a lot of fun. And we did it before Venture Brothers or a lot of these other shows kind of tackled stuff in not the same vein, but similar.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of it and what we did with it, and I hope to maybe it'll come back. Who knows? I mean, a lot of people have asked me about that, so we have more Snake Oars stories that we want to tell. So we'll get to it. I've just been so busy rapping that getting the comics out as frequently as we've had to spread it out a bit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so that also that tier obviously includes the record.
Yes, and then you get the record, of course. Yeah, so that's the bonus. You get the comics. That is the reward tier that we have because that's unlimited. It's digital downloads of the comics that you get for free. So the tiers that sold out, we did have pick the song of your choice, and I would handwrite the lyrics for you and sign them and send them off. And then we had the test pressing, and there was only 3 of those. Yeah. And they went, I think it was like in the first like half hour, which kind of blew me away. So
they were gone quick. I know because I didn't get one.
I had no idea. People, I think they're cool, but I didn't know how. Yeah. I really, honestly, I'm overwhelmed and overjoyed. I had no idea what to expect with this. So I thought I'd be on the campaign trail for 30 days, pushing this thing. And I still am. I want everybody to get a copy, but I was actually pretty stressed about it. And
sure, of course,
like any of these things. And people everyone who said they actually did want a copy of the record apparently really did want a copy of the record. So
yeah,
it was good. So thanks for being honest, guys. I appreciate that.
Wait, I mean, it's a fantastic project. It's an iconic project. It's one that we as fans are enthusiastic to support. One last thing I forgot to mention when we were going over the reward tier. So it does include the digital download of Welcome to Cobra Island as well, but it has also the quote unquote the Wordburglar 10-track sampler. Right. What's on that, and what could folks look forward to with that?
Well, it's a great like buffet of Wordburglar classics that you may not have heard. So I've got songs spanning from VHS tapes to video games, and there's a Transformers reference or 2 in there, and on Your Friend's Brother, and it really is like a nice sampler plate. So it's 10 tracks from previously released albums, all in one, to give you like a good. If a lot of people might just be, if they're only familiar with Cobra Island, it's like, here's some other stuff that might be up your alley as well. And, I hope that anyone who enjoys Cobra Island will go check out my other albums. And they're all, I approach them all with the same way. And especially if you're into some geeky stuff and you've got a sense of humor and you love old school hip hop, I think you should be able to find a few songs that you dig. So, and I really appreciate you having me on here, Mike. Like, it's always a pleasure talking to you and geeking out, and this is great, and we didn't even get into like Drift. When are we going to see Drift come back? Where's Drift? And
where is he?
I don't know.
Off in the cosmos. I don't even know.
Did they write off Drift? Did I miss something? I'm like, where's Drift, man? There was like a huge push on Drift for like 2 years, and then
oh my gosh, yeah. I think what happened was that there was the big push on Drift, and then the same energy kind of shifted to Windblade. Where they're just like, all right, now Windblade is the new hotness. And I'm fine with that because she rules.
Yeah, Windblade's great. Yeah.
Yeah, Windblade's awesome. So, hey, I know you're busy mastering the album. And
thank you. He's in Cyberverse.
He's in Cyberverse.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'm behind. I got to get caught. See, people are watching. Watching, looking for Drift. That's good to know.
Well, all right, I was going to go.
I actually, weirdly enough.
Yes.
It's Drift is in front of him. I definitely have. There you go. There's some Drift right there.
Oh, there you go. Very nice.
And I have the Generations figure or whatever. The first one when Drift got a figure, I've got that one when it first happened. Anyways, enough talk about Drift.
I like Drift. He's fine.
I love Drift. He was a samurai, wasn't he, or something? He had this.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah,
basically. Yeah. And he definitely is in the movies.
Yes.
Yeah. With the Ken Watanabe, very regal, very earnest, vocal delivery.
Charlotte hears me. I agree, Charlotte. Drift is cool. Drift is so cool.
Yes. So while I got you, and I figured being one of the skills being a nerdcore rapper and spitting those rhymes freshly, because I know you don't spit blanks. I before we part ways, I want to throw some rapid fire questions at you, if you don't mind. I have got these fancy pod decks. This is what it is. I'm trying to make it here on the camera. So this is called the What the Heck deck. This contains 50 unique conversation starting questions to help you take your podcast interviews to the next level and keep your audience entertained. Now, my audience has heard me talk about pod decks all the time, and they are a sponsor of Mike Seibert Radio. If you use my discount code MSRP10 at checkout, you get 10% off your first order. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not doing a live read commercial here, but what I wanted to do is I haven't really used these what the heck questions, and I wanted to throw a couple at you before we got out of here. So I'm going to shuffle my cards.
What the heck?
Yeah, what the heck? And I looked at some of these earlier, but I'm going to reshuffle them so I don't get messed up here. And I'm just going to pull this one right off the top here. Have you ever been arrested? If so, for what? What the heck?
What the heck? No, I have not.
All right. If your office had show and tell for adults, what thing would you be proud to display?
Oh.
Show and tell for adults. I love show and tell because it was weird. In my elementary school, we had kind of show and tell, but it was like kind of geared towards the shy kids. And I never quite understood that. So like I kept bringing my G.I. Joes and Transformers, and they're like, Mike, you show off your stuff a lot. Maybe let the other kids have a chance. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Sharing is caring and all that. But it was... Now I'm a podcaster.
I would show this off. So this,
whoa!
There was a listener gave me this. I had the Narc high score in Nintendo Power as a kid, and Caroline, who's this amazing. This is a cross stitch like NES version of a take on the video.
Gosh.
So I've got that kind of hanging up behind me. But that's definitely something that I would love to. So shout out Caroline who gave me this. She signed it too, 2018. Christmas. Thank you.
Look at that.
This is incredible. So this is one of those things that I would do. Got the Nintendo. That's me getting that 8-bit high score in Nintendo Power. True story. I rapped about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. That's phenomenal. Let's see. Have you ever licked a battery?
Yeah, sure. As a kid, yeah. Didn't everybody?
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I was going. I kind of scrunched my face when I pulled it. It's like, didn't everybody try the 9 volts?
Yeah.
Just zap, zap.
Yeah. I mean, it explains so much. That's what really set off the AllSpark in my brain, you know.
There it is. All right. So, all right. I think we'll close out with this one because this is definitely a rapper's question. How fast can you say the alphabet?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I don't know. Was that? I feel like I skipped half of it. Did I say?
I don't know. I think you got it.
I don't know. I don't think I've said the alphabet in years. I was like, did I remember it all? I don't know how fast that was, but.
My crutch when I was a kid, like I would do the LMNOP thing. I wouldn't enunciate the letters, and that's what my teachers would always nail me on. Like I got like the melody of the song correctly, but enunciation was the elusive part. All right, fine, for real. Last one here. Which body part do you wish you could detach and why? What the heck?
What the heck? I don't
These cards
know.
are weird.
I don't know. I don't know why you would detach. Unless I was like a battle android trooper, you know, like those.
Well, I was gonna say
unscrew it, and you know, but I would get a claw. Maybe like to get like a claw to reach stuff might be kind of cool. I don't know. I guess Inspector Gadget would have had to remove a bunch of body parts to get all that stuff put in him, but I don't know. What the heck? What the heck? Right?
Yeah, exactly. What the heck? So those are some of the what the heck questions out of the Poddex What the Heck deck. Again, if you want to get your own set, go to poddex.com and use my discount code MSRP10 at checkout to get 10% off your first order of Poddex. I tell you, man, we could talk for hours and hours. This has been super cool. I really appreciate you taking time coming away from the mastering console to talk about Joe and Transformers and detaching body parts and all the other cool stuff. And as a reminder, the crowdfunder campaign for the Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl is live through Bandcamp now through the 28th, 29th, or towards the end of the month.
October, yeah. And you go to wordburglar.com to grab it and find the link. So please check it out. And even if you don't like vinyl, the music's available digitally. And G.I. Joe, I've got Transformer-inspired tracks and tons of different stuff that I think you might enjoy. Visionaries as well. Shout out Chris and Full Force Diagnostic. But if you remember the Visionaries, we got you covered.
Yeah. Oh God, I almost had the tagline and I almost messed it up. There were like magical Knights of Light or something like that.
Magical Light. You got it.
Thank you, Knights of the Magical Light. I knew there was. Oh man, it's funny. Memories are almost like muscles. Like you have to use them, and I haven't thought about Visionaries for quite some time. And sometimes those muscles and memories kind of atrophy.
You got it. It could have been. You just rearrange. It could be like Lights of the Magical Night. You know, oh, I remember that magical night. Those were the lights I had.
Oh man, dude, this is amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time. And before we part ways for now, because again we'll have to get together again sometime because we got more G.I. Joe classified series coming up. We got more Transformers on the horizon. The Transformers topic that I neglected to get to is we'll have to talk about the Studio Series 1986 line that they're going to be doing. Curiously, Hasbro has yet to officially announce any of them, yet Cup, Hot Rod, and Scourge have already been leaked, and like YouTube reviewers are getting their grubby, scalpy hands on them. It's a weird time to be a Transformers fan.
Are they finally going to do a proper Quintesson?
Oh Oh, my friend, stand by. I'm actually going to take an extra couple minutes. I'm going to bring up my my screen here because it sounds like there's a particular item that you might not be aware of yet.
I'm not aware of much.
Oh, buddy.
I'm,
All right, I'm
very
share
deep
my
in the
screen
Wordburglar with the sketchy Wi-Fi. That's why I've got my physical media of paper books and magazines and records as we
records.
I've got all my
See that?
records.
That did not work. Hang on. I shall endeavor to try to share my screen again.
Is coming, a proper one, because I've seen some bootlegs out there.
Let's see, did that?
Who's still with us in the chat? Anybody still here with us? Anybody like the Quintessons?
Can you see? Can you see this guy on the screen here? So
wow.
This
I'm gonna have to ask Santa for this. Wow.
Yeah, so this Hit of Judgment gift set.
What
and
the heck?
basically what this is it was meant to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but because of the Rona, there was no San Diego Comic-Con this year, so it became a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And so basically in this, you get your Quintesson Judge, you get a Quintesson Bailiff, who's basically a retool of the Quintesson Alicon. We got him also. We got Alicons now. You got the Quintesson Prosecutor and poor little Kranix over here. You get a teeny tiny Kranix so that you can drop him into the Sharkticon pit.
That may be the greatest set I've ever seen. That is pretty darn.
Look at this.
Look at that. Hey, Charlotte, I see you're here. Yes, Quintessons fans. Is this available now? I mean, wow.
He's so hungry. And it's scaled
that looks awesome.
To where Kranix fits right in his mouth there. It's the set is just unreal. And you've got this this artwork. This is actually the reason why I bought the set, because it's got obviously it's a recreation of that iconic scene from the movie, but it's got this gorgeous call out right here, inspired by the Transformers the movie. And once I saw that, I was like, there's no going back.
Wow, that looks pretty amazing.
I need, if I could find.
Is it gone now? Are they out on Pulse? Is that gone?
Unfortunately, but you might.
If anybody can score me one, let me know. We'll make a deal.
Let me see. Oh, here we go.
I'll have to talk.
Oh, you can get him on Zavio? That's cool. Now I'm going to, through the magic of screen sharing, you also have just the regular Quintesson Judge as part of the War for Cybertron Earthrise series.
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, look at this dude. You've got...
That alone I need to get. That's pretty cool.
So pre-order now. Yeah, I mean, go to Zavi. It looks like he might be there. I don't know if they ship to Canada, but he's got all 5 faces. It's so funny. He has this transformation scheme where he turns into a little jail. You can actually fit that Kranix figure.
So that's what he transforms into.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Wow, the Quintessons were so creepy. They always have been. And there's a Flint, I think it was Flint Dill did a comic for IDW actually, and brought them into it. And that was cool to see. Well, thank you for enlightening me. And I've just been so deep in work that I haven't looked at much toys other than Joe stuff. So that's pretty cool.
And then you've got the so now you got this guy too. You have the Earthrise Quintesson Alicon.
Yeah.
So you got him. He's pretty cool. And again, he looks like he stepped right out of the movie. I mean, look at him. I mean, it's like he is not going to be down for getting an Energon goodie from Cup. So yeah, anyway, I couldn't let us go without having to share those guys, because that's it's a great time to be a Transformers fan. It's a great time to be a fan of the Transformers the movie stuff, with the 35th anniversary next year. But it is a fantastic time to be a GI Joe fan with the GI Joe Classified series out there. And we get to relive some of that Joe feels, and the Welcome to Cobra Island album. And again, if you want to get it on vinyl, you've been asking for it for years, and now it's here. Welcome to Cobra Island is available as a crowdfunder project.
Yeah, it's Bandcamp crowdfunder. So
there it is.
Bandcamp are doing a lot of great stuff. They've been fantastic for artists right now, because it's been a crazy year. So many people have had to cancel their plans. I know I canceled all my touring and everything, and that's just kind of how things are. That's fine. That's just how it's all worked out. But Bandcamp has been fantastic for a lot of us, and this is a great opportunity to get a little piece on vinyl, because that makes it real. When you can touch music, that's when you know it's real.
I love it. And
you got the touch. That's for you there, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate
you got the power. That's a rare one.
That's a good one. All right, but well, remind folks where we can find your music and all of your other cool stuff, like you're going to dust off your podcast. You're going to do like this deep dive on Welcome to Cobra Island. Are you still doing? Do you still like this movie?
Yes, and so we should talk about that at some point too. So the podcasts have been on a bit of a little hiatus for the last couple months, but I'm bringing them both back. Weekend at Bergie's and Do You Still Like This Movie? They're both available on all your podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find them, and also Wordburglar.com. If you scroll down the left side of the website, you'll find all my albums, my podcasts, and comics. Wordburglar.com, that's where I update everything. Links are there, and that'll send you to wherever you want to go. I've got a lot of videos on YouTube. There's, of course, social media, all that stuff. So, check it out. Give it a listen. And thanks for everyone for tuning in tonight. This has been super fun to just geek out, and take a break and learn a little something about Transformers, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah. Go check out Zavi. See if they still got them quintessons. And I feel bad I didn't mention this at the top, but congratulations on being a new dad.
Thank you very much. It feels good to It's amazing. Yeah, thank you.
You talk so much about being busy, and I was going to say, it's like, well, there's a reason why my dude has been super busy. I mean, it can't be easy having a new little one, figuratively running around like that, and especially in the times that we're in, it is truly unprecedented, and you're doing good, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. And have a great night, and take care of yourself, and look forward to being able to travel again. I get back to Seattle and see you and the gang.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we gotta have you on for another Crackle Fest. Get our man Kyle involved. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go on an action figure hunt. That's where you're gonna take me to all the good spots.
I think what we need to do is get a party bus. Some people get like party buses for debauchery. No, we're just going to run around and go to like all the different stores and shop for action figures.
We're going to get action figures and comics. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Hit up some comic shops.
Great. Sounds
all
like
right, man. Any parting words?
Till all are one.
There it is. All right. Well, Wordburglar, thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll chat again down the line. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good night.
All right. Have a good night,
everybody. Bye.
Peace. Very cool. All right. So, a special thanks to Wordburglar for hanging out with us here on the live stream. And so usually I usually start the Mike Seibert Radio After Hours live stream right about now. So it feels weird kind of ending right about now. And I know that I've got a couple of you night owls that hang out with us here on the live stream. So I thought before I packed up and got out of here, I wanted to talk about some of the other cool stuff that's going on in Mike Seibert Radio land that you might not have heard me talk about yet. First and foremost, this interview that you just heard on the live stream video, my interview with Wordburglar about the crowdfunder for the Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl record. I still feel like I'm missing some words there, but that will be available on Wednesday. So that is going to be this Wednesday, October 7th, on the Mike Seibert Radio feed, and that you can listen to Mike Seibert Radio pretty much wherever you listen to all of your podcasts, including Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. I don't know who listens on TuneIn Radio, but anyway, so that portion of the show will be this week's episode. I wanted to pivot really quick, and I talked about this earlier, but I did want to give a shout out to my dude Dave Cabal, who was out there on the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still hanging around with us, but I want to give him a shout out for basically he's restarted his Retro Cabal podcast that you can listen on Anchor and Google Podcasts and maybe a couple other platforms, but he started it, as I just mentioned in the interview with Wordburglar there. He started it as kind of like a journaling, chronicling his love of the G.I. Joe franchise, because much like my dude Wordburglar, they like the Transformers, but G.I. Joe is number one for them, and that's totally fine by me. But anyway, so he was doing this journaling podcast, doing it daily, which is incredibly ambitious and something that, folks have asked me if I would ever do. And to them, I would say, you don't know how I podcast. I'm the person that says that I'm going to do a half-hour live stream and it ends up being 3 hours. So that's kind of how we end up here after hours. But the episodes are relatively short, between 5 and 20 minutes. And he's relaunched it recently, every day during the month of October, talking about his love of the other franchise, that being the Transformers. So it's the Transformed Life from Retro Cabal. So you can catch that, and that's a ton of fun. The other thing this last weekend, and this actually won't drop for a number of weeks, so I will probably end up talking about it a few more times before it actually drops. But this last weekend, I was a guest with Aaron, Ryan, and Caleb, the Autopod Decepticast. It's the first time I had been on their show since we talked about Heavy Metal War, the season 1 finale, and we talked about an episode called Auto Berserk. And if you're not familiar with this one, it's from season 2. And I'm just going to share my screen here. Auto Berserk. And because this one is iconic for a specific reason, and it is... Oh, why is this so slow? Oh, that's fine. We'll just bring up the TF Wiki here. Here we go. And then we go to share screen. Share screen. Click on that. It's the one where Red Alert is a meth head. So yeah, basically this is I talked about this during the episode, but since there are like 50 something season 2 episodes, I know I've seen them all. at least sometime or another during the last 30 years, but I don't remember almost any of them. But this one particular one, Auto Berserk with Red Alert and the scary red tinge around his eyes, and of course the flashing ears, and with him being all paranoid. That was imagery that really kind of stuck with me. So when they reached out to me to want to do another podcast, I was like, I looked at, I saw where they were at, and then kind of thought about what's coming up ahead. So I saw like the next couple, I was like, oh, hey man, did you do Auto Berserk yet? And no, that's actually our next recording session. So it actually just kind of came together that quickly. And so, yeah, so I joined the guys. We talked about Auto Berserk. This episode is crazy fun. Mild spoilers. I want to say that if you are a fan of Caleb's Is This Music game, you are going to love the new game that he came up with, which is kind of a sequel of sorts to Is This Music, but it's not exactly the same. But yeah, it was tons of fun. So I think like the thing we talked about the least during the podcast was the episode itself, ironically enough. But yeah, no, that was a ton of fun. It's always fun kicking it with those dudes. So I don't remember the episode number, but it's going to be dropping at the end of the month, probably the weekend of the 24th and 25th. The same weekend as that virtual TFCon that may or may not be happening, because really, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any news. Nothing's been announced. So who could know? I don't want to necessarily get out my umbrella and start, putting shade on TFCon, but not announcing things until like the week of is kind of their signature move. So I guess I shouldn't be as surprised that nothing has been announced yet, but with it being a virtual convention, who could know? The reason why I bring that up, and that weekend in particular, one, it's going to serve as Ryan Jett's birthday show. His birthday is on Halloween, October 31st, and so that will be the episode of Autopod Decepticast that drops closest to Halloween. So that's kind of his birthday show. But also on that weekend of the 24th and the 25th, you remember back in the spring, February, March, I don't remember when it was, when TFCon Orlando was supposed to happen, and that was like one of the first casualties of the Rona. I mean, convention wise, but they postponed it, canceled it. They canceled it so late that the third party panel had already been done. So what TFCon ended up doing was presenting what would have been the third party panel as a assembled video. And it ended up being really cool. Just, kind of watching it as a video presentation as opposed to being there in the panel room. So when we were recording last weekend, Aaron hits me with this suggestion and says, well, hey man, we had such a great time talking about the third party panel after TFCon Orlando. Would you be interested in doing that again? To which I absolutely would. And that was at a time when we didn't necessarily have, well, I mean, the technology has always been here, but it wasn't as prolific. Like I wasn't doing live streaming. And even to the point, this, in the Corona quarantines, that video conferencing has become so mainstream and so prolific that when I recorded with the APDC gang, we used Google Meet, I think was the platform that we used to just basically video, something we had never done before. And I've recorded with these guys several times over the last 3 years. Sometimes they're on my show, sometimes I'm on their show. Other times we're all together doing Transformers Reanimated. Point being, this was the first time outside of the Cybfest Northwest panels talking about Transformers the movie where we kind of did it as video. Now, I'm perhaps misspeaking. It's not a video that they saved. It's not something that they're presenting. It wasn't a live stream, so it was something that we used internally. But my point being is that the platforms are becoming so prolific and mainstream now that these are just new tools that that we're using. Like, for example, I've had Wordburglar on the podcast a few times now, and this is the first time we've done like this Zoom style video conferencing. So it's it's new, it's exciting, it's a cool thing. Where I'm going with this is that we're thinking that we are going to do the third party panel. We're not going to be able to do it simultaneously. Like, we were almost thinking to kind of do like a live reaction video live stream as the third party panel is being presented. We're not going to be able to do that because most likely the third party panel will be presented while I'm working. So, what I think, though, what we can do is do a live stream sometime later that afternoon. We don't know if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday or anything about it, but we do know sometime during the 24th and 25th that there will be a third party panel and that it will be some kind of video presentation. So with a little bit of engineering gumption, I'm sure I can figure out how to grab the video and share the screen like I have been with you here. And then Aaron and I can just talk about the third party panel. And since we're not doing it live, we don't necessarily have the pressure of it going too fast, things getting lost. We can actually really take our time, stop the video, knock over microphones, stop the videos and talk about the items that are being revealed. Aaron is a huge third party person. And for me, I don't know if I can say that I don't own any third party because I have to. Oh, you know what? This is going to be incredibly awkward. So I will leave you with this tease. Yeah, just sometime during TFCon online weekend, the 24th, 25th of October, the same time that the Autopod Decepticast episode of Auto Berserk featuring me will drop, sometime during that weekend, Aaron and I are going to do a some kind of live stream. Maybe it'll be a podcast, maybe it won't. We have that's still weeks away. But I'm going to do something really awkward in that I'm going to leave because there was an item I wanted to bring in for show and tell, and I was running a little late when I clocked off of work because, as you saw, we started very early because I'm with over there at the Cobra Citadel near Cyber Toronto. It's on East Coast time, so we started at 9:30 at night for my dude Wordburglar. So he was getting close to his bedtime, so I wanted to make sure I accommodate that. Point being is I'm going to go run to my desk. I will be right back, and we're going to do some show and tell. So feel free and entertain yourself. I don't I don't have anything I can put up here for you, so I'm just not. Talk amongst yourselves. Leave something in the chat. It will crack me up to see what's in the chat when I get back. But like I said, I'm gonna go run to my desk, grab something pretty cool to share with you. I'll be right back. You're listening to Mike Seibert Radio on the After Hours live stream. That's stupid. I'm not going to break. Oh, that door is heavy. Okay. All right. See that? That wasn't that. What's going on with my hair? Oh no. Okay. Let me see. Where did I leave off at? Okay. And we're back. Welcome back to Mike Seibert Radio on the After Hours live stream. I don't know why I'm bothering to even say these things because none of this stuff is going into the podcast. But first of all, yes, yeah, we can take screenshots of the third-party panel, but I think it'll almost work better as like a shared streaming video, like because I would imagine, depending upon the timing, I would imagine that the video would either be on Facebook Live or YouTube or something to where I'm thinking that actually let's experiment. Let me see. We'll go to YouTube. And we're gonna do third party panel TFCon. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Sheehy, and I will be
Sheehy,
virtual host for the TFCon third-party panel presentation. I'm sorry that we couldn't be there in person all together to see some exciting new reveals, but I'm happy to be here today.
And then,
first up is New Age Toys. Here we have New Age H21.
So yeah, so this, I guess this would be kind of an example of what I'm thinking of doing here. I gotta figure out the sound though. So yeah, so I'm thinking we'd put the video up like this, and then it'd be like, oh yeah, man, let's talk about them tapes for a few. So I'd pause the video, and it's like, oh yeah, look at that rat bat there. He is a nice rat bat. Anyway, just to kind of give an example of what we're thinking, I think we'll. So was the sound that I had on earlier, was that coming over the video? Because it was weird, because like I could hear it through my laptop speakers, but not in my headphones. So I don't know if that's just a weird settings thing, or I mean, really, quite frankly, I don't think we need the narration, because basically, you know, as Aaron and I would be narrating it, it would just be kind of like, oh, hey, this is what this guy is. Oh, it's a really nice, not Starscream figure. Okay, I'm gonna get bogged down in watching this, but I think you get the point. That's basically what we're looking to do the weekend of the 24th and the 25th. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks. That's what we're looking to do. It'd be some kind of version of this with me and Aaron on a live stream video talking about the third party reveals from TFCon online. So got that to look forward to. And again, you get a double dose of Mike Seibert and the APDC gang, because that's when their episode on Auto Berserk is going to drop as well. So, and I'll be tweeting about all of this aggressively. So stand by and look forward to that. I mentioned this during the last live stream, which I just now realized was 2 weeks ago. Thanks for being patient. I was bummed that I had to miss last week. I had a coworker have a sudden tragedy that I had to come in and cover for them. So it just kind of messed up my entire schedule. But things are more better, and now my schedule is kind of back to what it was previously. But I missed all of you, and I'm excited to hang out with you here now after hours, and shout out to everybody that jumped on during the Wordburglar interview. During my last episode. Oh, see, now I'm getting all scrambled. During the last live stream, I talked about the episode of Have Not Seen This, the podcast hosted by Rafe Telsch that I was on. But the podcast, the last episode of Mike Seibert Radio, featured my interview with Rafe Telsch. Basically, we recorded for about an hour talking about Transformers the movie. He had not seen it before, and yeah, it was kind of fresh and cool to talk about the movie with folks that aren't part of the fandom. Not that there's anything wrong or that I dislike talking about the movie with folks in the fandom. Quite the opposite, actually. But it was kind of neat to, some of the questions that he asked me while I was on his show were things I hadn't thought about in a good long time. Stuff like, well, hey, the Autobots seem to be easily defeated. Why is that? And it's like, oh, I haven't thought about that for a good long while. Just some things that you kind of take for granted. So anyway, that episode was a lot of fun. It's going to drop sometime during October. I know it's not going to be this next week, possibly the week after, but quite possibly the week of the 24th and the 25th. So towards the end of the month, you might get like a double, triple dose of Mike Seibert all over the place, which kind of balances out because the content from me is going to be a little spotty. I took last week off, and then I want to let you know all here that I am taking next week off as well. My youngest cousin is getting married over the weekend, and so basically I'm taking Saturday and Sunday off, and then Lucky and I's anniversary is on Monday. So I'll be taking Monday off, and if anybody knows my work schedule, I don't know why I'm sharing this on the air, but my quote-unquote weekend for work, because I do work on Saturday and Sunday, is on Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't work on Tuesday, Wednesday. So basically, I'm taking off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I have Tuesday, Wednesday as my quote unquote weekend. So I have like this 5-day weekend already baked in, and that's so that's super cool. We've got dinner plans, nothing terribly elaborate. Obviously, what with the Corona, but it's going to be cool to have that extra time off. Our house is currently being tore apart. We're getting our siding replaced. It was a project we were going to do earlier in the year, but decided we wanted to get moved in and get settled first. And now that we are, it's time to get that project done. So when I get home this evening, I will have a new garage door, and I will have to remember that my clicker doesn't work anymore. I have to put in a manual code to be able to get into the garage. Because I mean, it wouldn't be a Mike Seibert show without me talking about various ongoing home improvement projects. But anyway, we're really excited for the new siding. It's a very dark color, and we're doing some really cool stuff with the outside that we're going to make it a point to not really share. So, like, for example, oh man, I've already spoiled it and said too much. Because one of the things that Lucky told me, she's like, I don't want to share too much on social media. I don't want to necessarily take a bunch of pictures and share things. And she shared a picture of a outline board. Let me just see if I can find it here. Stand by, because this is actually kind of funny. So those of you that are here hanging out with me on the live stream, I'm actually gonna go ahead and spoil it for you, because I don't think Lucky's here, and I'm gonna see if I can get away with something here. This up, because I've already spoiled that that we're doing siding. So hang on, I am going to. So that doesn't go full screen. Weird. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. Yeah, see, I was hoping to share it without like the comments or whatever, but here we are. So anyway, Lucky shared this vague picture, and playing video games for most of our lives, something's behind that panel, right? I mean, it has to be something. As near as we can tell, that used to be a window. Like our home has gone through some extensive remodeling, and to the point, like, I think the house was originally built in 1958, and it was remodeled in 1997, where like they added rooms and kind of altered the floor plan, and to the point being where like this used to be a window, and now it's boarded up, and now it's adjacent to the closet on the other side of the wall there. So Lucky shared that with the caption saying, "So it begins!" ! And she told me, she's like, you know what? That's it. Let folks go nuts in the comments. Let them try to figure it out. It's like, oh, you don't even want me to say it's a wall? Nah, dude. Just I'll let them figure it out. So, exclusively here on the After Hours live stream, I have revealed that secret board used to be a window, and that we are indeed getting siding done. So that's kind of like a weird random update about the what's going on at the house. And I don't remember how I ended up on this topic. Was I still talking about Transformers the movie and that show I did with Rafe Telsch and the Autopod Decepticast guys? I don't remember. I've drifted too far afield, and that's totally okay. One of the other things about my interview with Rafe Telsch for the Have Not Seen This podcast, and it came up when I talked to the Autopod Decepticast guys as well. Is we talked about the music of Transformers the movie, and I have this weird perspective that I'm kind of like on an island by myself, in that I like the soundtrack in its entirety, the score, the songs, everything, totally without irony. Now, again, I like them because they're featured in the movie. So it's like, I listen to those songs and immediately think of the movie. And I think maybe that's where the legislation kind of breaks down. Because I like the songs, but I do like them because of their connection to the movie. But one of Rafe Telsch's hottest takes, and he revealed this during the interview during last week's interview podcast, was that the music was a really hard thing for him. He was really struggling with it as he was watching Transformers the movie for the first time. So yeah, and so I kind of brought that discussion to the Autopod Decepticast guys, and because I know they're not necessarily hot on it either, but the thing that they corrected me on is that they like it within the context of the movie. So where I'm going with that is I've also kind of noticed that that's kind of like one of like my main crutches and tropes. Like I ramble and I tell stories, and then at a certain point I was like, where I was going with that is kind of like a weird vocal tell reset point. But what I wanted to mention, and this just came up like in my Time Hop Facebook memories, is that it's the you know what? Let me lose these captions here. There we go. It's the 1 year anniversary of the Transformers 1986 album from the Cybertronic Spree. Now, as you can tell here, this is basically all of like the Kickstarter goodies that I got. Basically, I backed it at the highest tier I could and got the CD autographed by the band. I also got like a patch, a cassette tape, which I have played. I have a boombox that plays cassettes, and then I do still have a tape deck in my 2005 Toyota Camry. And then some stickers, none of which I've actually peeled off of the page there. I keep thinking that I want to like put them on my headphones or my microphone or something. I just haven't really gotten around to it. But that just reminds me how much I love the album, just the soundtrack album as its own thing, independent of the movie. I have lost track of how many copies of the soundtrack album I have. I have at least 2 different versions on CD from the official release. One I picked up when I was in high school, when I was kind of like going through this phase of rediscovering the movie. But then I also have Sony released a 20th anniversary edition to coincide with the 20th anniversary DVD that they did, and they added a few extra Vince DiCola tracks on there as well. It was super cool. But so those are the only official versions I have. Now, the Cybertronic Spree, they're Rogue in disguise. They're from Cyber Toronto, and they cover the Transformers the movie soundtrack, as well as several other nostalgia classics as well. But they put out a album last year. They did a Kickstarter for it that, much like Wordburglar's vinyl project for Welcome to Cobra Island, it funded almost immediately. In fact, there was a top level tier that I didn't get into because it went in a half hour, and I actually just happened to be out having breakfast with Lucky when the Kickstarter went live. And by the time we got home, that tier was filled, and then like several of the other higher tiers were filled also. I got in because they opened it up for more, because I think they realized what they had here, and unlike Hasbro, it seemed like they allocated more to meet demand. So anyway, I backed at the highest level I could. So I have at least 2 digital downloads of it. I have the CD, the tape, and I've talked about this previously, but I also have the album on vinyl. And I'm mildly embarrassed to admit this. I have 4 copies of it on vinyl. Basically, what happened was they had a gift bundle for the Ride Records, and it includes so they put it out in 3 different versions. Like it was like a red one, a blue one, and like some other color mix. So it was those 3, plus they had test pressings, and it was a limited edition of 24. I went to the website as soon as the time went. I didn't wait for any tweets or announcements or anything like that. I went directly to the Enjoy the Ride Records website, clicked on it, and got one. That's an expensive set. I also picked up the original soundtrack for the TV show as well. That's also a phenomenal record. I got that one in the Starscream colors as well, and I realize I haven't opened those up and shared them with the live stream audience here. I might have to do that. Anyway, I really like this album, so much so to where I have over a half dozen copies of it. So that's kind of where I'm at on there. Where I was going with that, and again, if we're making this a drinking game where I say where I was going with that, then anyway, I feel like I'm on that island by myself with enjoying the soundtrack, but I know who's on that island with me. And it's my dude Toby, aka Alpha Magnus, out on Twitter. He is a huge fan of Cybertronic Spree. He is a huge fan of the soundtrack album, and it just happens to be his birthday today. So I want to give a huge shout out and a happy birthday to Alpha Magnus. Hasn't quite reached the milestone birthday, but he's very close. So it's like that milk carton is getting close to pull date, dude. And anyway, so happy birthday, buddy. I'm glad you're my friend, and you're doing awesome, cool stuff with customizing. He just started on a hooded Cobra Commander custom. He just finished a Delta Magnus custom where he took basically Siege Ultra Magnus and kind of redecoed him in the classic Diaclone colors. So that's something really cool that he's doing there. But yeah, like I said, I had to tell this entire story just to get to happy birthday for Alpha Magnus. So before I get out of here, I wanted to share with you an item that came to me through the mail. There's a larger story that I'm going to skip for now, just for time. I might tell the story of the popcorn later, but for now, damn it. I do this all the time where I say that I'm going to do a short version of a story and it never comes to pass. So I am friends with Aaron from Autopod Decepticast, obviously, and his wife Melody. They their daughter is taking dance classes. And so she was doing a fundraiser selling, popcorn and basically other stuff, And so I saw this on just a Facebook. And so I commented to Melody. I was like, well, so hey man, do you does she ship? Because I do like popcorn. And we got connected and she's like, yeah, man, seriously, we'll ship it to you. So I ordered a few bags of popcorn and forgot all about it. So I paid Aaron through PayPal and proceeded to forget about it. Well, a couple weeks ago, this box shows up on my doorstep. I open it up, it's popcorn. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, I got this popcorn, including the dill pickle popcorn, dill pickle flavored popcorn that my niece is now fighting us for, which is why I bought it. But anyway, I was just doing it to be, fun and supportive. And I didn't really take into account how much shipping costs and things like that. So got that squared away. But as I'm going through the box of popcorn, I open it up and I see a box that's not popcorn. I've posted about this on social media already, but I wanted to do it here on the live stream just to kind of show them off. And so this box is in here and I picked this up and I'm like, what is this? Transsphere, the evil energy, Tuner S. Oh man, this looks like a Soundwave figure. And I was like, oh, hey, I like Soundwave. And I was like, and I was about to message Melody. I was like, your husband's sneaking toys in the popcorn box. But then I open it up, and so there's plastic in there, and then it's got handwritten note. It reads, "For your desk, enjoy this KO of a third-party Soundwave. What a weird world." That from Aaron, and that's so he's not in there because I had to run and take him off of my desk. So here he is. So this is again it is a KO. It's a knockoff of a third-party Soundwave. I don't know what he's a KO of, but yeah, so he's Tuner.S from Transsphere, the evil energy. He is number 4 from a company called Pocket Toys. It's really kind of like the triumvirate of things that I have now. I now own a KO, which means I also kind of own kind of like a third party thing. And his head does swivel. Oh, he's on a ball joint. This guy's been sitting on my desk for a week or so now, and I didn't think I can move his head because like every time I moved it, it just kind of snaps back like that. But anyway, he's a neat little toy, and he when Aaron and I did that third-party panel discussion thing back in the spring, we were talking about that new age Scaramanga figure that you saw during the video very briefly there. And we got into this whole legislation discussion about Legends class, which is the size class for this little dude. This is a scale that's become very popular with collectors, because basically it's full of masterpiece engineering at, you know, a fraction of the size, and I don't want to say a fraction of the price, but a lesser price at a time where, you know, MP44, the latest masterpiece Optimus Prime costs over $400. The new masterpiece Starscream has a retail of like $250, something like that. So, you know, I think Legends class figures run between like $30 and $50, something like that. So still pretty expensive for a little dude, but like, I'm not really gonna mess with him to show off the engineering, but basically the thing that I told Aaron at the time is like, I don't want to mess with Legend scale, because once I get into it, I'm just going to buy everything and just get addicted to it. Not all that dissimilar to how I got addicted to alternators once I started buying some of them. And now how I've become addicted again. And again, my buddy Ant from TFU.info, he nailed this perfectly. He's like, they called it plastic crack for a reason. Because again, it is incredibly addicting. But yeah, this is a cool little dude. He's got a lot of detail. But the thing that I really like about this figure is he's got tapes. So can I get this one out of here without a pen? Probably not. Oh, I got a thing up here. And yes, Legend scale definitely takes up less space than Masterpiece, which, you know, if you have a bunch of Masterpiece scale figures, yeah, those detolfs fill very quickly. So anyway, so there's a Soundwave. I'm going to set him just off camera here, off to the side, but he has two bird tapes here. And basically what they do is, I need to be doing this on camera. Again, I am not a toy reviewer. There will be some other time that I'm going to talk about a particular toy reviewer that I kind of got into it a little bit on twitter.com, but I don't want to, I'm not going to do that tonight. That might be in a couple weeks. In fact, actually, I don't think it's even going to be on a live stream. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a podcast, because I want to pull some audio from his YouTube pages there and share that. So there's, a teeny tiny Laserbeak, which has, you know, is very similar to his G1 transformation there. It's like, you know, the wings just kind of fold in, and the head flips down, and, you know, it becomes a tape. And then there's this red thing, which is kind of like a rat bat, but is, you know, the same mold as the Laserbeak cassette. But there's also, where'd it go? There's also a Ravage in here as well. And the thing that's dope about this particular guy is that you see the thickness on the Ravage cassette there. And then you have the two Condor tapes. Basically takes up about the same amount of space. So you can put either, again, trying to do this on camera. That's not going to work. Okay. Maybe that doesn't fit in there. Anyway, so Ravage is supposed to fit in the chest. I haven't done that because, like, I've messed around with the tapes instead. Oh, there it goes. I just had to do it more. Damn it. Come on. There we go. All right. So yeah. So Ravage fits in his chest there. Who on the back of the box, the tapes are Ravage is referred to as assistant. And then with the Condors and Ravage, they are the full members. So definitely a knockoff. But what's neat though is since the Condors take up the same amount of space, the way I've been displaying him on my desk is I put one of these inside the chest compartment, and then the other one just kind of hanging out like that. And then, while he can't do exactly the iconic, eject button thing there, it's like he gets close, but not quite. But what he can do, since his finger kind of points there, he can look like he's pointing. So I've got him all messed up now, but I had him posed very similar to how he appears in the intro to the original TV show, where it's like he's got a gun and he's like, pointing as Laserbeak is jumping out of his chest. Anyway, that's an incredibly thoughtful gift from Aaron. And again, dude sells it with a handwritten note. And if you want to make your friend feel very special, write them a handwritten note. So it's just one of those things. I'm like, buddy. Oh, anyway, I had to share that with you before I got out of here. Next time we do one of these, I am going to talk about. I mentioned my niece earlier, who wants to fight us for dill pickle flavored popcorn. She has a campground down in Mossy Rock, and she, unbeknownst to her, her little campground has now become internet famous on YouTube, thanks to a popular travel channel. I'll have some of the video, and I will do a little more research about the particular YouTube, but basically it's a popular travel channel, and they went to her campground and did an amazing video on it. It has like 100,000 views on it already. It's just insane how viral this thing has gone. I've shared it on Facebook already, so it's not really a huge spoiler here. But yeah, so I'll talk about it next time on the live stream, and then sometime later, as I mentioned before, I had a little bit of a run-in with a notoriously grouchy YouTuber that I want to take. Rather than sharing with you a bunch of screenshots and telling stories now, I kind of want to take the time and prep, and again get some audio samples and things like that, because I, for the first time ever, I actually blocked somebody on Twitter, and that sounds very naive, but it was and really what it was to prevent a situation that I knew was going to escalate. Knowing this person by reputation, and if you follow me on Twitter, you can find the tweets. And if but yeah, I don't want to unpack it here because it's getting late. So, and I think that'll about wrap it up for this week's live stream. As a reminder, I am off next week, attending my cousin's wedding. Hopefully it'll be socially distanced. Damn it. Several times throughout this recording, there have been times where it's like, Mike, you don't want to talk about this. Let it go. And I don't listen to that voice in my head. And this is one of those times also. So my youngest cousin is getting married, and I'm incredibly happy for her, and her fiance is a wonderful guy. I like him quite a bit. They are a great match, and I am excited for them to start their new lives together. Once upon a time, before the Rona, they got engaged last year, and then we're planning for an October wedding this year. They had planned for a fairly large gathering. I think had already rented a hall, and it was just going to be a big party, kind of like in what you expect weddings to be. But then the Rona. So they prudently reschedule the reception for this time next year. So it would be basically at the same venue with theoretically the same amount of people. They're in their 20s. They are in love. They want to get married now. And perhaps the courthouse is too far away. I don't mean to be snarky, but basically what they decided to do was have a intimate ceremony, quote unquote, a smaller ceremony, and then still have the reception next year. The thing that makes me uneasy is I don't know how many people are going to be at this thing. So when you start talking about a small ceremony, is that 10 people, 20? Who could know? It's going to be held at my aunt and uncle's place, who have some acreage, so it'll be outside, plenty of room. So I'm not worried about that, but at a time where we've seen on the news where there was really kind of like this super spreading event where, I mean, now granted, those folks were not wearing masks, not engaging in social distancing. I don't anticipate any of that at the wedding. I would imagine that folks are going to be distant and wearing masks and things like that. But the thing that I'm really uneasy of is, how many people are going to be there? It's like, because I want to say that my cousin has a half dozen bridesmaids, and I believe he has a half dozen groomsmen. That's half of a small ceremony right there. And while I am her oldest cousin, I wouldn't necessarily say we're like the most immediate of immediate family. But yeah, it's just like, how many people are going to be there? So I'm still at a spot where I get a little nervous going to the grocery store. So I intend on being very cautious. But I also anticipate some awkwardness because, it's weird. I mentioned earlier that we have contractors at the house, and something that I, as a guy, as a quote unquote business person, or whatever, however you want to look at it, I haven't shaken a single hand since March. So it's been weird to where it's like, we're finishing remodeling, and it's just kind of like, I literally, like the last contractor we worked with, I like waved at him because I didn't know what to do. It's like, I'm not shaking hands, so it's just weird. And yeah, there's going to be at least 20 people there. But yeah, so really, I just need to concentrate on being as safe as I can be. And yeah, if it's a situation that I end up being not comfortable with, I hope folks will understand. So I just anticipate some awkwardness because my mom is flying in from Alaska, and it's going to be weird. No hugs from mom. I don't know. I am sure that I will have a full report in the next couple weeks, but it is, I guess, it is something I'm kind of weirdly uneasy about. I'm still gonna go, and I could still be supportive, and if it gets really hairy, I can just kind of back off and be a creeper, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, no Monday night live stream next week. It's Mike and Lucky's anniversary. We're going to be enjoying fancy dinner, and because of that, I don't think I might surprise you, but oh no, never mind. There will be no surprises because I'm taking the weekend off also. So unfortunately, much like last week, this week, no new live stream, no new episode, but I hope to come back strong in the next week after that. I'm going to line up some interviews. I am in the future hoping to chat with Tyler Blazinski and Livio Ramadelli, the trade paperback or hardcover, hardcover that includes their Constructicons Rising story for Transformers Galaxies came out on my birthday, actually, September 15th. And I've been in touch with Tyler saying like, hey, man, I'd love to have you guys both on the podcast. Plus the trade for Livio's first creator-owned story, The Kill Lock. That trade drops later this month as well. So I'm hoping to get them on together before the end of the month to celebrate those two things, and hopefully get you to buy some books. Later on after that in November, I am going to be doing a special episode with Caleb from Autopod Decepticast and Greg from Unfunny Nerd Tangent. We are going to be talking about the Road Warrior and the Ronin trope. Basically, Greg has never seen any of the Mad Max movies despite living in Australia. And Caleb feels very strongly about the Road Warrior. It is one of his favorite movies, but more than that, he is going to take us on a deep dive about the Ronin trope and how it's so prevalent in fiction, and is one of the defining traits of Mad Max. So we're going to be recording that first week of November, so it'll be probably mid-November before that episode drops. And then coming up in the future, somewhere within the next 8 weeks, it'll be episode 300. And I don't know if I'm going to do anything particularly commemorative for it, because I just recently did that 3-hour 5-year anniversary retrospective. So I don't think I need to do another retrospective so close to the last one. And yeah, it's interesting. So like episode 100 was pretty iconic. We got the KGRG gang back together. Episode 200 was a view with Kyle Stevens from Kirby Crackle, who's become one of my most prolific guests. So I'm not sure what to do for the 300. I've been kind of like reserving the 50s for the APDC gang. They joined me for episode 150 and episode 250 as well. So obviously they'll be the guests for 350. But yeah, I don't know what to do for 300. Do episode numbers even matter? Do these kind of milestones even matter? I'm not specifically sure. Maybe it'll just be whatever that week's episode is, and that'll be okay also. So, but with that will wrap up this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching the live stream and for listening to the podcast. If you would like to listen to Mike Seibert Radio, you can subscribe on SoundCloud and Google Podcast and Stitcher and Spotify and TuneIn Radio and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you like and what you would like to see more of in the future. Special thanks to Wordburglar for jumping on to talk about the Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl crowdfunder that will be available through the month of October. That's the only way you can get that snake green vinyl. Mike Seibert Radio is produced by Dave Sanders. For Mike Seibert Radio, my name is Mike, and until next time, wear a mask, wash your hands, and make good choices. Good night.